Welcome back for another live episode of 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your producer, Jeremiah Long, and joining me to talk about the South Carolina Gamecocks versus Georgia Bulldogs in this college football preview is the man himself, our host, Mr. Logan Landers. How's it going, Mr. Landers?
What's going on, Jeremiah? Another great Monday. That means we're doing some college football game previews. No longer team previews. We did that for quite a while. I'm pretty sure we're talking about both of these teams. And it's finally good to see them go head-to-head. Week 2 in college football in the SEC battle. The Southeastern Conference is ready for this one. I'm ready for this one. I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, and of course, we are based here in Atlanta, Georgia. So we got the Georgia Bulldogs coming. I am super excited to see our Bulldogs play and to get some people back in the stands to go and see the tailgates, all the smells, to watch it on a big screen somewhere, to watch it from home. I just love it. I'll tell you, I tend to love to watch football like in like a sports bar with a big screen with the volume on so that I can hear the play-by-plays from the amazing announcers. And I mean, some of these announcers are just historic in and of themselves beyond, the players and the teams themselves. And so, yeah, listening to the South Carolina Gamecocks, announcers and the Georgia Bulldogs announcers, depending on where the game is held at, I just love to hear that part of the game, hear the passion from the announcers, hear that extra bit of data that they're able to throw in there. And that's one of my favorite parts too. So that's one of the reasons I enjoy watching, watching these games on a big screen at a sports bar with a great group. But I also love to go to tailgates. I love to watch games in person. Heck, I love to listen to the games on the radio. So any way that I can get some great college football, I will take it. Because I've definitely been that guy driving down the street listening to college football on the radio and had something amazing happen and just be blowing up and just, yes. And just from outside of my car, people are probably like, what is going on with that guy? Because I'm just exploding, just listening to all this college football radio. And so, yeah, college football radio was so fun. But without further ado, Mr. Landers, tell us, the South Carolina Gamecocks versus the Georgia Bulldogs. What do these two teams and their fandom have to look forward to for this game?
Well, I'm going to start off with the Gamecocks because they got the most to prove in this one. They are definitely underdogs going against the Bulldogs this upcoming week. And to be honest, they barely pulled it out last week, Jeremiah. They barely got the win against East Carolina, the Pirates. They only won that one 20-17, and that was thanks in part to the end of the game field goal by Parker White, knocked it out for out of 36 yards. And to end the game, so it was close throughout. I thought South Carolina, they didn't look the best. I thought they definitely should have won this game a lot more easily. But hey, shout out to East Carolina. They put up a good fight going up against South Carolina, and it was a good, overall for a game that I'm sure not a lot of people thought was going to be that close. Ended up being pretty good. Last second win, can't beat that honestly. So let's talk about what went right for South Carolina. What can they improve on coming into this game against Georgia, and what are some of their keys to victory? So it all depends, I think, for me, on Zeb Nolan, their quarterback. He did all right, 13-24, 214 yards, just one touchdown, one interception as well. So nothing too crazy. You definitely got to think he's got to throw for closer to 300 yards if they want to get even close to a victory against Georgia. So we'll see what he can do coming up this week. As for the rushing game, not too much to speak of here either. Like I said, it was kind of a low-scoring game. But as for the rushing goes, Juju McDowell, 11 rushes, 71 yards. And Kevin Harris, 7 rushes for 33 yards, so not too bad. The receiving core, the one kind of big key, I think, that needs to have another really solid game in order for these guys to get the victory is Josh Vann. 5 catches, 116 yards, 23.2 average per catch. So not too bad at all. I think he's definitely going to have to get another 100, 150 yards performance to get this win for South Carolina. Also, DeCarron Joyner had a touchdown on the day as well, so not too shabby. For the they did have a few fumbles as well. They had 3 on the day. DeCarron Joyner, Josh Vann, and Marshawn Lloyd gave those up. They lost 2 of those, so you definitely got to limit as many turnovers as you can if you want to get this win. You basically have to play a flawless game, no interceptions. You have to get some interceptions on your defense in order to get even close to a victory. So the defense for South Carolina did pretty decent. Like I said, they gave up 17 points, which isn't too bad. They had 5 sacks on the day. Kingsley Enagbare had 2 of those, so looking good. Brad Johnson had a sack as well. Jordan Strachan. So all those guys were looking pretty solid. They gave up 8 tackles for losses as well, so looking good. And the defense, like I said, they gave up 17 points, not too shabby. So the offense needs to step it into a next gear, I think. And if the defense can do pretty much what they did against East Carolina, I think that they will have a shot, but it will be a tough one. I mean, they only gave up in total 152 passing yards on the day, only 116 rushing yards, so that's not bad. But you got to be even better against Georgia. You got to get some turnovers. And they were able to get 2 interceptions on the day. They got one from Damani Staley, and the other one's from Darius Rush. So both of those guys were able to get it. Staley was actually able to take it back to the house for a pick 6. So you got to hope that if you're a Gamecocks fan, you got to do any kind of ritual you can do. If you want to light some sage, if you want to, take your vitamins, say your prayers the night before, anything like that, you got to hope that you got to have a chance against Georgia because you got to play perfect. Because Georgia, like I said, they are on a hot streak right now. They beat Clemson and, pretty much a nail-biter, 10-3, which I didn't see that coming. I thought it was going to be very much so a higher-scoring game. But then they faced the UAB, the Blazers, last week, and they absolutely crushed them, which they should have. They won 56-7. So they were looking nice. No JT Daniels. He had an upper body injury, so he did not play. You got to hope that he might be available pretty soon. But they did have the quarterback from last year, Stetson Bennett, come back in. And, man, did he have a tremendous game against the Blazers. 288 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So not bad at all from the QB1 from last season with the mailman, Mr. Bennett, looking solid. That's had Carson Beck come in for a few plays, 4 of 10, 88 yards, and a touchdown as well. So looking solid. The rushing game, not a whole lot. They did. They kind of spread it. Had 163 yards on the day. Zamir White was responsible for the most of those. 7 carries for 34 yards. James Cook did run in for a touchdown though. So not the best in terms of running, but the passing game was just on looking too good. So they had to keep it rocking with that. So I don't blame them at all. But you got to hope that whenever they do face up against kind of some of the bigger matchups, whether it's in the SEC or some of their other opponents coming up, that they got to kind of find a way to get that even in terms of rushing and passing yards. But for right now, hey, Stetson Bennett had a heck of a ball game. Give it to the hot hand. I don't blame him at all. Man, the receivers had a great day. Like I said, it was Bennett throwing the ball everywhere, getting touchdowns. So the receivers were loving him. Brock Bowers, 3 catches for 107 yards, 2 touchdowns as well. Jermaine Burton looking good, 3 catches for 92 yards and a touchdown. Arian Smith, 1 catch for 61 yards, an absolute bomb, looking good. So, man, it's looking solid if you're a Georgia fan. I don't think you have too much to worry about coming into this one. They did not have any fumbles. They look clean. The defense looks solid as well. They had 3 sacks on the day, 5 tackles for losses. Channing Tindall led the way, 7 tackles for him, so looking solid. And if you're Georgia, you look good on the secondary. You had 3 interceptions from Jamon Dumas-Johnson, Lewis Seen, and Keely Ringo. So those are all 3 of your big hitters right there. And I think going into this one, I think it's going to be a tough game for South Carolina. If it's Georgia, I think it's just going to be business as usual. I'm going to go with the Bulldogs on this one, Jeremiah. I have to. I think they're going to score big. I think they're going to put up, what am I going to go with here? I'm going to go Georgia 45. They're going to score a bunch, man. They've been looking good. Georgia 45, and I'm going to go with South Carolina. I'll be generous this morning. It's Monday. I'm going to go South Carolina 28. So 45-28 is my final score with the Bulldogs getting the win in this one. I think that South Carolina, they're going to come in, hyped up, trying to face this Georgia Bulldogs team. They're going to be excited, and it's going to be a tough game nonetheless, but I think Georgia will pull it out in the end.
I didn't unmute myself. Yeah, I do see that too. I can see Georgia definitely pulling that out. With my Gamecocks, I got to still give them, some credit and hope that they come in strong and really fight a fierce game. But, this is a home team. You got to get them Georgia Bulldogs in there, baby. And I am excited. I will definitely be listening to this one on radio, I believe, for this one because I'll be working, on some projects while it's airing. But I will put this on in the background. I'll listen to this, and I am there with you. I cannot wait to hear some Georgia Bulldog, some South Carolina Gamecock football in town. So I will tell you this. This is one of my favorite matchups early on. But what I'm really looking forward to is later on down the season with Georgia when they fight those other big games. They got Alabama at some point too, and everybody got to come after Alabama as usual. So now that we're back, there's no excuses. There's no turning back. We're going to do everything we can this season to be the top dogs. So everybody watching and YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, let us know. Do you agree? Do you think that the Georgia Bulldogs got this? Do you think the Gamecocks can pull it out? Let us know what you think the final score will be in the comments. And if you're listening to our podcast right now, thank you so much. All of your listening, all of your sharing, and everybody telling everyone about 100 Yards of Football, telling your friends and family, telling your friend that loves podcasts, telling your neighbors, yelling it from the rooftops. But if you're not listening to our podcast yet, please jump over and check it out. 100 Yards of Football. Just pull it up over on Spotify, over on Apple, anywhere that you listen to podcasts, and we are there for you. We put a new podcast up almost daily, and we have incredible episodes about game previews, but we also have incredible episodes where we interview the greats of the game. We have Bobby Butler, 12-time veteran of the NFL, first-round draft pick from 1981 in the first round. And he's one of our great hosts, and he comes on every week to bring you amazing Legends interviews. And then Vincent, Mr. Football Turner, our founder, who also brings these incredible history specials and incredible breakdowns of some of the awesome players of the game. In fact, he's got a really great one coming up here in just a little while that's just going to be awesome. I always learn something every time I listen to them. So everybody, please tune into our podcast every week, subscribe to the podcast, and feel free to leave us a note and tell us what you think about the podcast on Apple, on the reviews. That helps us a whole lot in the algorithm to get pushed up so that other people can find us organically. Well, for the entire team here at 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio, I'm the producer, Jeremiah Long, and you've been listening to our host, Logan Landers, break down the South Carolina Gamecocks versus the Georgia Bulldogs in our college football preview. We'll be right back here in just a moment with another live episode.